All right, guys, so in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down how I took one of my clients from zero to $209,000 in revenue in the first 21 days. And we done this without any paid ads, completely organic, and he had no existing product before working with us. So the client we did it for was AJ Currency. At the time when we launched him, he only had around 110,000 followers, so he has grown pretty significantly since then. And he paid us initially, as you can see here from the screenshot, $6,000 up front to help him with the launch. And then we agreed a rev share on the back end as well. So here you can see the dashboard from the launch. We actually started the launch on the 11th of July. That's when we officially launched. And then we went till the end of the month. And these are the numbers we hit in that very first 21 days, which was $209,000 in revenue and $139,000 in cash collected. This is not the only client we've got these kind of results for. We helped Dovey go from 5 to 20K a month to generating him well over $1 million. Denzel from 15K a month to 100K a month, and Micah from zero product, etc. to 400K per month in around 7 months. Plus plenty of other clients that we've helped go to 20K, 40K, 50K, and 100K per month very, very consistently. So let's jump into the video. Let me show you exactly what we did to make AJ this money in the first 21 days. So the very first thing that we did was market research. As AJ already had the audience, he already had authority in the market. People already knew him as a successful trader, but he'd never launched an info product. So we wanted to make sure we was creating the right product for his audience, and so that we could actually position this product in the right way, in the right kind of offer for his audience specifically. We also wanted to look at competitors to see what was already working in the market, see what some of his competitors were already doing, what kind of funnels they were running. So what we needed is how we're going to position the offer, we needed the positioning, and then obviously we wanted to create the launch copy from that as well. So there's two paths to market research. Obviously, if you don't have any data, then obviously you're doing IG polls, you're doing questions, you're doing Google Forms in exchange for a lead magnet, and you're collecting contact info. You're collecting contact info too, which obviously those people might buy. If they do have existing data, this is mainly going to come from sales call recordings, onboarding forms from existing clients or current client results. Now, he had some of this because he had been helping people with like some trading, like he was doing a little bit of coaching, on the side, but he didn't really have a product. So there was definitely people we could talk to and get their feedback from working with AJ on like what kind of coaching style would work, what kind of product would work, and what they need. But actually, because he had such a large following, IG story polls were really good. So we would ask stuff like, what is your biggest goal with trading, or what's your existing experience with trading, how long have you been trading for, have you not been trading at all, what the main things you're struggling with, or what's the biggest pain point right now, what's the biggest thing stopping you from getting into trading. So we would ask all these questions on polls and basically gather the data to see the biggest pain points. Then we just plugged it all into AI so that we could actually build out a very detailed ICP document, a client profile. So some of the questions that we asked was mainly around their goals, around their experience level, where they're based, how long they've been trading for, what's the biggest thing that's stopping them with their trading, or what's the biggest challenge with their trading. And that really gave us an idea of who was in his audience. And what we found was, yes, there was quite a large majority that were third world, but there was quite a lot that were actually based in Australia, in the UK, and in other first world countries as well. And obviously they're the kind of people that we want to target for something that's high ticket. So basically you feed everything into AI. That's going to help you, if you prompt it the right way, come up with all of the pain points, desires, context, brand philosophy, and copy that actually sounds just like the creator. The 5 documents that we created was the brand voice profile. This is basically taking every piece of AJ's content, putting it into AI and creating a brand voice document. So the copy that we write sounds like AJ, uses the words that AJ uses regularly, even slang words, etc. The brand story profile, this is the creator's personal journey and story, and this actually powers the narrative in the marketing. So what we tend to do here is, yes, if they have any videos on YouTube telling their story, then we use that. But what we tend to do is actually get the creator to send us a voice note going deep on their story. This not only helps with the marketing, with the VSL, with the copy, and with the launch process, but also helps them connect with the sales team. Because if we can actually create a scripted video where he tells the story and why he actually is starting the mentorship, that's really going to help the sales team buy into the vision as well. The third one is more like your pain points and desires. I really put this into the ICP document, so I wouldn't even class it as a 5th document. You can actually just put that all into one. But what you can do, like testimonials document for sure, rather than pain and desires, what I'd rather have is like questions, objections, and FAQs. And that's something that in the beginning you are kind of guessing or you're creating a thesis on. But as you start taking more sales calls, you build a big document of all the most common questions, objections, concerns that you're getting. And then you can actually put that into your marketing to help overcome that, or put it on your pre-call process to help overcome that before the calls. Now, why this is so important is because these key documents are going to help you with everything. They're going to help you with the product creation, the offer creation, your positioning, the sales scripts, the launch copy, any lead magnets, any email sequences, any ads, pretty much anything that requires copy and strategy towards marketing and sales, you need these documents for. But like I say, the main thing that we discovered was pretty much everybody that was following him for his lifestyle, and most of them were beginner traders. Or they tried trading in the past, but they never really had anything that structured and they never really made money from trading. The second part of the process was the infrastructure build and the launch strategy. So this is where we had all of the foundations we needed. Now we needed to actually set up the back-end process, plan the launch, and basically get all the infrastructure in place ready for that launch and ready for scaling post-launch. So the ground zero build was obviously the product. So we worked with AJ to actually develop the product. We built out his whole system on Circle, branded it, etc., laid it out in a nice way. So when people actually came in, they had a very good structure to go through, which integrates the calls, etc. And then we also built out his Discord, so we actually had a community that people could talk in day to day as well. We built out obviously all of his funnel and sales assets. So that was a VSL funnel. We scripted the VSL. We done all of the landing page copy. We built out the landing page. We built out the pre-call page, which is like a mini VSL on the back end, and case studies, etc. And then the back end email sequences as well, reminders, and then value emails on the back end. In terms of sales infrastructure, we hired a sales manager because we knew we was going to be busy from day one. We got them to hire a team of setters, DM closers, and closers. Had them onboarded. We built out the full infrastructure for them as well. So like the full CRM build out, all of the smart views on close, all of the phone numbers, A2P verification, the SOPs, the company docs, the closer handbook, the setter handbook, basically all of the infrastructure you need on that side. And then of course, launch copy would be like your landing page copy, as I mentioned, pre-call video script, all the back-end emails, 21 days of IG story sequences, and nurturing emails, the Telegram messages we were going to send during the launch as well, the waitlist email nurture sequence, and everything for the launch essentially. So most people think launch is just posting some stories, but this is the real work. It's the stuff that goes on the back end. It's the planning. It's being very intentional with what you're doing each day and the story that you're actually taking these people on. So why did we go for a waitlist launch? Number one is because you're able to build so much hype and multiple touch point over a few weeks. So by the time it comes to launch, it doesn't feel like it's a new product. It doesn't feel that something is new. It feels like something they've heard about for a while. They've been waiting for it. They've been anticipating for it. They've been excited for it. And it feels very exclusive, especially when they're on the wait list. But another reason is it actually gave us time to build the product and actually get feedback and get data from people that are already on the wait list. So we would even ask them certain things in the Telegram about maybe what are the kind of things they want to see, how many group calls do they want per week, and we were able to actually get the data and help tailor the program better for those people that were already in the waitlist. So what did the structure look like? It actually ended up being, I think, 22 days in total, but generally we aim for around 21 days. Maybe sometimes we add extra follow-ups on the end. But this is how it looked from a high level. So we had 3 main channels. IG is where we were getting everybody from, and then we were pushing them towards emails and Telegram running, because with emails, you're sending daily emails exclusively to the waitlist, and then Telegram, you can actually have extra touch points because AJ's showing his lifestyle day to day. He's showing winning trades, etc. during his day. So that's why we decided on both. So the hype building really started on IG for the first 6 days. This is where we're kind of teasing and whispering about a potential launch. Day 7 to 14 is when we're getting people into the actual waitlist. Once they join the waitlist, this is when they're going to start seeing the emails and when they're actually going to join the Telegram. So this is where we're going to start, and you'll see in the next part of this video how we actually structured every single day. But this is really where we're able to build a relationship with these people on a deeper level. Day 15 to 16 is where we're doing like the private waitlist only launch. And then day 17 to 22, this is when we're doing a public launch, We're also accumulating leads. We're posting a lot of reels and stories daily at this point as well. So how it works, the actual mechanics, you do an IG story CTA, they go onto Typeform, they fill in their name, email, phone number, they get redirected to a landing page which gives them clear instructions. Go to your email, make sure you reply. The emails drop every single day at this time. Make sure you're kept in the loop so you can actually have first access. And then once they actually land on that landing page as well, they've got an option to join Telegram, as well as a button to join Telegram in the initial email as well. What we also want to do here is obviously have a confirmation step to protect the domain reputation and help build our domain reputation. When we get people replying after that first initial email, it really helps since we actually have a new domain that was still in the warm-up process. So just quickly touching on the actual sales team we built in a bit more detail. We had the sales manager. We had, I say 4 to 5, but I actually think it was more like 6 to 7 setters, a mixture of DM setters and phone setters. And then we had 3 or 4 closers because we knew we was going to get a ton of volume in that first couple of weeks. The software stack, we had Close as our CRM. We used Calendly as our call booking software. We had Typeform to capture the leads. We had N8N automation in the background to automate everything. And then of course we obviously had like our phone numbers, A2P verification for SMS, etc. The SOPs, obviously we had our closer handbook, setter SOPs, company docs. So we basically SOP'd everything we need for every single part of the team. And then of course we had all of our sales team trackers, data trackers, etc., just like the dashboard that I showed you earlier in the video. So that was really the full infrastructure that we needed to build out on the back end before launch. So really from the day that we signed, we had around 3 or 4 days of planning before we actually started the tease process. But the good thing about that actual process is because we're going to have around 14 to 15 days before we even launch to the waitlist, we have all of this time to actually build out the back-end infrastructure at that time. So here's the actual launch. What did we actually do during the launch? So it actually, like I say, ended up being 22 days. Day 1 is where we done our first initial tease. So I've actually put pretty much the exact copy that we had here. So we said something along the lines of, I have something huge dropping for traders in July. We will announce details soon, but before I do, I want to ask you guys something. What's the biggest obstacle you face as a trader on a daily basis? And then we had an actual poll, and we kind of came up with the 4 most common things that we'd already seen in the DMs. And basically what we wanted to do here is we wanted to get the audience interacting with us, engaging with us, and obviously starting to whisper that we are launching something, but not really giving them too much information just yet. Day 2, we done another poll. Day 3, we kind of continued on the same. We started to tease a little bit more. On day 3, we started mentioning, okay, I have something huge coming up for you guys. If you're an existing or aspiring trader, make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you stay tuned on my stories in the next few weeks. No dates, no details, pure curiosity. So obviously we didn't script that part, but this stage, that's what we're doing. We're just kind of teasing. We're not giving them any specific dates. We're just letting them know something is coming within the next couple of weeks and to stay engaged. Day 5, we done another poll. And then day 6 is, again, we're kind of announcing that something that we're actually going to give you dates tomorrow. So we're kind of giving them a warning. Look, we're going to give you a bit more details tomorrow. We're going to give you dates on when this thing is going to be launching tomorrow. So on day 7, that's when we announced the launch date. And so we announced the waitlist essentially. I'm launching the most transformational one-on-one trading mentorship yet. Break free from your 9 to 5, master one strategy, scale to 6 figures, waitlist for early access, and you'll get a surprise bonus. And then on the next story, we then put the Typeform link. Once they opt in, we have a welcome email. The first thing they're going to get is a welcome email, which we're going to try and get them to confirm their email or reply. And so this forces engagement, protects the domain, etc. But this is where we're going to explain kind of the next steps. We're going to say, look, you're on the wait list. You're going to be the first person to get access to this program when we launch it on July 11th. In Telegram, we're going to have a similar sort of message, but we're also going to get we also got AJ to do a voice note in there. So again, it's building more of that personal relationship. The good thing about Telegram, especially when you're doing like a trading offer, is people already are using Telegram most likely, and you're able to actually post a lot more stories without burning your audience. Like with Instagram, if you're posting 5 to 10 stories a day, your views are going to drop significantly, where something like Telegram, you can post multiple times a day and still have the same level of engagement. So day 8, we done another CTA, just kind of building more hype around the actual waitlist. And we're letting them know, look, we're going to close the waitlist soon. So if you're not on it already, make sure you get on it. On email, we tell AJ's personal story. So like his journey, how he got into trading, why he's actually launching a mentorship. And on Telegram, we're doing something similar, as well as other lifestyle stuff throughout the day. Day 9, again, we are teasing we're trying to push them towards the waitlist again on the stories. The email, we're actually telling AJ's full journey now. So we're not just telling them about like the personal story about why he's creating the mentorship. We're actually telling them about AJ's journey. This is actually giving them an opportunity to really connect with AJ if they don't already know. And his journey was pretty cool, right? He was in construction for years. He started learning to trade on his own. He got into tons of debt because he was just failing, basically gambling. And then he finally had his breakthrough. And, since then has made millions of trading. So it was really, it was a pretty cool journey that he obviously shared. And we also shared the similar thing in Telegram as well. On day 10, we actually gave away a free resource. So we created like a PDF document again, which is just another conversion mechanism and just pushing more people to the waitlist, but giving them something in return. Anybody that was on the waitlist would have already had this when they first opted in. Day 10, so that's day 10, sorry. What we done on the emails and on Telegram was push a couple of case studies, or we pushed one case study on the email and we pushed a couple within the Telegram. So day 11 on the stories, we took a break from pushing CTAs and we just got AJ posting some of his lifestyle day to day and some of his winning trades. In the email and Telegram though, we just posted another case study to build more proof and obviously show more and make sure that they had more conviction. Day 12, we done a are you on the waitlist already? A poll with like a yes or no. This again is going to increase engagement. And then on the next slide or on the next story, we said if you said no, this is your last chance to get in. And we done another link to push them towards the waitlist. On the waitlist, this is where we done FAQ. So we actually done an email going over all the most frequently asked questions. In the Telegram, we just got AJ to do it in a voice note, in a talking head story, kind of going over the most frequently asked questions. On day 13, we let everybody know on Instagram, look, if you're on the waitlist, we are launching 48 hours from now. So make sure you're keeping an eye on your emails. Make sure you're keeping an eye on Telegram, because that is where you're going to hear about it first. Same with the email and the Telegram. We kind of gave them a 48-hour kind of warning. Again, Telegram, we were still posting winning trades. We were still posting lifestyle content. Day 14, we let them know, look, tomorrow is the day. If you're on the wait list, you guys are going to be the first to know. You guys are going to get a discount on enrollment into the program. And we gave everybody a last opportunity to join the wait list. Now, obviously, if they join at this stage, they're going to miss out on a certain amount of emails. Like, they're not going to get the 24 and 48-hour email. But what we did for anyone that joined on the last day, we basically sent them all the prior emails in one day. So every 2 hours, we would send them the update. That way, they still could actually get the content from the emails. If they were joining in the Telegram, obviously, they could still scroll through and see all of the previous content. And then day 15, that's when we done the private launch. So we put out an email. We put out a Telegram message. And I believe we got somewhere between 120 and 140 calls on that first day. I can't remember the exact numbers. And I'm pretty sure if I just double check, we booked around 220 in total. 213 we booked in total. But yeah, from the first initial day, I think it was around 120 to 140 booked calls, which is obviously quite a lot, even for 3 or 4 closers. Like they were full up for the next like 4 or even 5 days. I think we had to open the calendar up an extra day. But what we did is we got the setters to go through and obviously triage. We cancelled anyone that was pretty crap. But on that first day, I think we cash collected something like 40k or something like that. Usually your first day will tend to be the biggest because you're going to get the most interested people, right? So I think, we done around 40k on that first day. Day 16, on the story, we let them know, look, yesterday we launched to the wait list. people are absolutely loving it already. People are absolutely loving the content, and they're already super excited, in the group. We're going to launch to you guys in the public in 24 hours. So make sure you keep an eye out on the stories if you want on the waitlist. Don't worry, you're not going to miss out. You will have a last opportunity, but just so you know, 75% of the spots are taken. So make sure if you still want to do this, you're jumping on this quick. On email and on Telegram, we just pushed a little bit of urgency. We sent an email saying, look, we're launching to the public tomorrow. If you're on the waitlist and you haven't booked a call yet, do it now, because tomorrow prices are going back up to normal. There's going to be way less space on the calendar, and you're basically going to miss out your opportunity. So we're just kind of creating some FOMO there. Day 17 is when we done the public launch. So we done like a power offer on the story, and we pushed everybody to book a call. We didn't do a VSL or anything like that. It was just straight to, and that's the same when we launched to the waitlist. We didn't push them to a VSL because we'd already built like a decent relationship with them in the emails. We just sent them a call booking link. We just removed all friction. In hindsight, I don't know, maybe it could have been good to have like a mini VSL. Maybe I would do things slightly different this time around, but honestly, it probably wouldn't be a VSL on the front end. It would be more doing stuff on the back end. Regardless, we sent them a booking link, and then we got the setters to call them to obviously triage them, make sure they didn't have any unanswered questions, that kind of thing. For the email and Telegram, this was the last day where we pushed follow-ups. We basically said, look, we just launched to the public, book now, or we're not sending you any more emails, basically. And then day 18, 19, 20, 21, and then 22, we just pushed like a reel and a story every single day, trying to accumulate leads. And the reels were all around the launch, that we just launched something new, that the waitlist members are already enjoying it. And it was more targeted at his followers, but we did have one that was kind of more top of funnel, trying to get people in, talking about results that we'd got from previous students when AJ was like kind of mentoring privately. But yeah, this is where we was kind of just accumulating leads. Like I say, towards the end of the month, we ended up booking, within that first 21 days, we did end up booking around 213 calls, which wasn't too bad. So that was the launch. Now, just to quickly go on, like, what did they see once they booked a call, and like, what was that post-booking process look like? Because this is the main thing that I feel like could have been improved if I was doing, when doing other launches now, or if we was like relaunching AJ again. I definitely would have changed the pre-call process. Now I've learned so much more, scaling so many more businesses since then. But essentially what happened was, obviously you had the IG story, CTA, they go to the type form, they go to the landing page, they have the welcome email and Telegram group as we discussed. But once they actually book a call, they go to this pre-call page. It just has like a congratulations, your call is booked, here's what's next. Then it had a video of AJ. AJ was basically just explaining the next steps. So now you book the call, go to your email, confirm it, add your calendar, look out for a call from our team. Make sure you go down this page and watch all of the case studies. Make sure you go and check me out on YouTube. And if there's any other questions, don't hesitate to message me on Instagram. It was kind of like short and sweet. Below that, we had case studies of people that, again, AJ had helped in the past, because luckily he did have some case studies before. If you don't have any case studies at this point, it's not the end of the world. You're just going to have to, your sales team is just going to have to do a little bit of extra work in obviously selling these people, most likely. So the reminder cadence, we had SMS every 24 hours before the call. We had an email 12 hours. 1 hour before the call, we had an SMS and email. 5 minutes before the call, we had a SMS. And then obviously you have your call time. The closer's job was the day before to reach out to the person like on iMessage or on WhatsApp to try and confirm them, see if they had any questions, see if they had any concerns prior to the call. So obviously confirming them the day of the call, and then obviously trying to build rapport as well. So like if you can, the 24 hours before the call, connect with these prospects, try and use it to build some rapport before the actual call, so it doesn't feel like they're meeting with a complete stranger. Now, number 5, like, what did I actually learn from this? Was there anything that I do different? And the answer to that is yes. So the final numbers was 209,000 revenue, 139,000 cash collected. We had around 900 waitlist signups, booked 213 calls. We had 90 live calls, which means we had around 56 cancelled. Predominantly, most of those were because they were unqualified and we cancelled them. 53 no-shows. Obviously, we spent 0 on ads. And then obviously we went on to generate him over $1 million as well while working with him. So what I learned, this was one of my first like proper big launches. And if I ran the same launch today with the same following, I'm confident that I could double the number, if not even more. The infrastructure was right, and the infrastructure actually wasn't right. The strategy was right overall, but the execution definitely could have been sharper, improving show up rates, tighter follow-up, and faster lead response. But yeah, even with the imperfect launch, with the right stuff in place, like with the actual right strategy in place, obviously we still generated 209,000. They were still super happy, and as far as they were concerned, like we done very well. But like I say, first of all, I feel like we could have got more waitlist signups with his following, if we just done things a little bit more tactically. And maybe even like he did have like an email list, which is from a previous company that I feel like we probably could have tapped into. If we just took a little bit of extra time and just spend time like warming up the email domains first, and creating a couple of other email domains, and then start tapping into that bigger list he had, we probably could have got more waitlist signups, probably around 1,500, honestly. And then from that, I feel like we could have booked tons more calls. We probably could have booked, let's say, 350 to 400 calls, let's say, because I think around 25% to 30% of the people on your wait list you could definitely book on. And then in terms of like no shows, because it's organic, because we built so much a relationship with them, I feel like our show rate was pretty shit. And that was mainly down to, I think the sales manager that we hired wasn't the right choice, meaning some of the hires that we made weren't the right choice. And so even the close rate wasn't the best, considering how much like we actually nurtured these people. So I think setters could have been better at qualifying, confirming, and building a relationship prior to the call. And then closers could have been a lot better. The top closer was someone that I hired as well, not even the sales manager. And so I think if we had more closers like the person that I hired, our close rate probably would have been 50-60%, which it should be really. Off a launch where these people are so like warm and organic, 50 to 60% really should be where you're at. And so yeah, based off of that, yeah, I mean you do the numbers. Let's say we had like 200 live calls and half of them could have closed, right? We could have done probably 400k, 500k cash collected, if we done things better. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you have any questions, let me know. If you want to do a launch like this, so if you're already an expert in your field, you have an audience and you haven't launched an info product yet and you want to, book a call with me. Let's see what we can do for you. Or if you're already running a mentorship and you want to scale it to 100k, 250k, 500k per month, and you want help with that, book a call with me. More than happy to help. And I'll catch you in the next one.